welcome back to another one. Now, it's been a week since the last one. I wanted to put this video out today, but I haven't filmed it yet, so that's not happening. But exciting news, we have signed a lease on a new unit. I'll go for the big grand reveal. It's not going to be as exciting as you think, because it's the same unit, but I've put a sign up. But we have now officially taken on this back workshop. So we're going to have to do a video of kind of gutting it and sorting out a lot of the stuff, but it's ours. Dropworks to the moon. But for now, I have spent a week scratching my head about this car, and we've made a plan. If you've been following along, you'll remember originally I was going to put the Volkswagen stuff on this, so I cut the rear end of the chassis off. Now I was looking the other day with the mx5 stuff and I realised I can actually still keep it on. But I made these to obviously come inbound onto the top of the mx5 chassis. Now I've done a lot of measuring in the car, and that then means the rear seat will be like 1 arse wide, and it needs to be 2 arses wide. So, you'll also remember I cut these straight out of 5mm. They were wrong. So I said I should have done them out of 2mm. So what I've done is cut some more straight out of 5mm without doing them out of 2mm, but these ones work. So, I'm going to weld the original chassis rail, weld this all back on, and then go for more of a mini truck style notch, which will sit like that. That will then fit right in the outsides. So the seat will still pretty much be the full width that it always was. I don't mind losing an extra, I think it's 150mm on the very outsides of the seat, because the seat is about 6 inch thick anyway, so I'll just thin it out at the edges. So what we will do is line this all back up. I'll weld the original chassis back on, tack onto the chassis table, tack the rears where they bolt onto the car, weld the fronts on, tack the rears on. Then I will tack these on where they got to go. I'll run the tops on them and then cut the bottoms out, because these arms come up 150mm from where they are now if I want to lay the sills on the floor on 17s with an alright sized tyre. Camera's also about to run out of battery, so I guess I will tackle this back together and then join back in a minute. But this is a bit of a 2 steps back, 1 step forward situation, but that's just my life. So we've got to get this rear end on this week. By next weekend I want this all welded up. I won't make the diff mount because I don't actually know where everything's going to run through the car yet, so I will get the rear done this week. I'll also get the front subframe off of the mx5 this week, probably shift this whole thing back on the table and then work out where the front's going to go, and just pray that I can get the front on the floor. Because if I've done all this to get the rear on the floor and the front's not on the floor, I'll be super upset. You have a better idea of how the notches will sit. They'll sit like that, and obviously that will flow up and round. The bottoms are a little sharper on the angles, but that's just to make clearance, but they'll set up like that. And then down here on the joint I'll make some fish plates, basically bulk it all back up, pull the inside rails in. But that is the plan, and we've also been printing some t-shirts, so while I get this tacked back together, enjoy this little cinematic masterpiece.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shitty, my bros raw. No breaks, we go, 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 go. Throw shade, that's a no, 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 no. Go high, go low, low, low. Like spinning in a 644.
I've got two sides this side tacked in, only one that side, but just to give you an idea of what you do, obviously line your two outsides up, you can then run a level to get your height, you can then level across the back, the front, get everything in the right place. Now what I can do is actually weld on the insides of these, obviously down the outsides, we're then going to plate the top in, and that means we can then cut straight through the back. What that basically means is everything, if you imagine you had, obviously we cut this, but if you forget about that, if you imagine you had a complete chassis, you can weld these on, weld the top on, that'll put the strength back in enough that you can cut the bottom out and then weld the bottom in. It means nothing will move. So it's the easy way to do this. I've obviously curved these, try and make it look like the original chassis, but a lot of people just run a square notch, because like half the time they're under the bed of a truck or whatever, so it doesn't matter. But the reason I've done this is now, originally we were going to go in here, but that meant the interior, the seat of the car would only been about 1.5 feet wide. By doing this, these actually have turrets in the car already, so although they'll be bigger, they'll be right at the outside of the seat. So this shouldn't actually come up higher than what the cushion is on the thing if everything goes to plan, which it probably won't. But I will now put some welds on these. I've got a cut bracket off the other side to fit the other one, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. This is the bracket I was talking about. You can see I've trimmed that one off. I've just welded that one on. So what I'll now do is take the tacks back off that one, grind that bracket off, and then weld that on. Then we'll go about making the tops for them, and I'll show you how I do it. We'll get the two tops on, cut the bottoms out, and then look at mounting the subframe. In an ideal world, in this video, I'd like to get the notches in, done, and I would like to mount the subframe. Now I might weld it rather than bolt it, because I don't think it needs to be removable. I'll look back at this in the future when I have to take it off and say, definitely needed to be removable. Right, all welded in now. I'll show you a little trick which you might need to know. If you take from one end around and then pull that off, this is then the length you need to cut out your flat. Give or take. Cut this to my tape marks. Now what I've done is mark the centre line, and I mark the centres of the two bends. I mark them on the sheet. I'm going to do probably say 10 lines at 10mm apart, and I'll fold it around there. Got a little eBay folder that will bend 5mm, so I'm going to slowly work them round. Obviously if this was straight up, it'd be easy. You just put one bend in it. For some reason I went with curves. If I was at my old workshop, I've got gas bottles there, so I'd probably just tack this on the top and heated it and bent it round, but we don't. So, I will return. That's one notch done. It follows the shape of the chassis, and I think the side profile is quite nice too. I'm struggling to film here because I've got a massive tripod attached to the camera still. But that's one side welded in. Now I'm going to do the other side. I don't want to make these videos that boring, so I'll just get on and do that. But let me know in the comments if you like this style of video, if you want more cinematic stuff in it, less, more explaining. I'm just getting on with it. This isn't easy, but we're just going with it. Just going to see what happens. Hopefully one day this pays for me to build stupid cars, and then I'll start giving them away. I did think about giving this one away, but I just want to keep it too much. Simple as that. But yeah, one side done. I'll now weld up the other side, and then we'll cut the bottoms out and pray to God that I measured them right and it's got full lift. Then we just need to attach the subframe. So again, I'll be back in a minute. Sorry I keep doing this. Enjoy.
I'll throw in some clips. Enjoy this while I weld the other one up.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I'm a real one, my day one. Fast lane, with the booyah, that's a flex. Not human, I ain't from
There's a ball egg. It's out. Well, there's one notch done. I still got to cut the other one. I got to weld the bottoms on them, but you can get an idea. I think they look pretty good. So, I guess I'll cut the other one out, make some bottoms for them, then we can mount the subframe. I actually feel like we're getting somewhere. I need to clean all the welds up as well, but I'm happy. Me again. I wasn't going to show this, I was just going to get on with it, but this is the bottom, right? So once you've cut everything out, you can then fold this up and that'll weld in there. I just thought I'd show that, just so that's the whole lot done then. But it's getting late now, so I'm going to weld that in, cut the other one out. When I come back, we'll look at the subframe. Don't know if you're as bored as me, but hopefully we'll get somewhere soon. Well, that has been a chore and taken a load longer than I anticipated, but both the rails are in now, they're done, they're welded, they're cleaned up. So now it is finally, like I've been saying the whole video, it is finally time to mount the subframe. But it's also a Friday and I have to go pick my kids up. So we're not mounting the subframe. But next week's video, I will mount the subframe. I will also get the front subframe off of the mx5, get it here and actually have a look at where that's going to mount. So now we're going to make some good progress. The rear has been a bit of a head scratcher, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. The notches look massive, but these top arms come up so high and the actual knuckle ends up under the notch as well. So that's obviously increased the height of them. But like I say, they're right on the outside of the car, so they're actually not going to be that intrusive. I've got a few ideas of mounting this subframe, whether I weld it on or bolt it on. Might try and bolt it on, might just weld it on. I don't know if I'm ever going to take it off again. But so next week's video, we are finally going to mount the subframe, and you can hold me to that. Thanks to everyone who bought the new t-shirts as well. That's a massive help because I have to buy an ECU for this, I have to buy the hydros for this. I've got to buy so much for this still. So yeah, shout out to everyone who's done that. I'll leave a 10% code at the end of this video. It's just going to be YouTube, the word YouTube. For anyone who wants to get one, so thank you for that. Let me know in the comments if you like the content. I need to know because I pick this camera up and try and film these every single time, but it's nothing like you'd imagine in your head. Then you go and edit them up and I start getting bored and I think, oh, but I think it's just because it's been a boring patch. It's going to get more exciting from here, and it will get even more exciting when the car's done and we can go try and drift it. But it's going to be a hell of a thing, and also next week's video is probably going to feature the Land Rover, because I'm now working on that during the day. So thank you so much to everyone who does watch, because it's not easy doing all this, but I enjoy it. So if you could like the video, subscribe if you don't already, comment, put the little bell on, do whatever you want. But I'll see you next week where we're actually going to mount that subframe, probably.